And we're live with Carrina.
Hi.
This is part 2 of her getting typed by the Victor Galanko, PhD in Socionica. We just checked recently because someone was asking, "Oh, what's he got a PhD in? Is he really a doctor?" Yes, he is. Because
What does he have a
socionics
PhD in?
it's in because socionics is like a proper subject in the former Soviet Union. There's
I
like
did not know that.
it's like 800 doctoral theses. There might be like 800 people with a PhD in
Yeah, I
socionics.
did not know that.
I don't know because it did say something like on even on Wikipedia it said something like, I think it said like 600 or 800 doctoral theses on the subject. So anyhow, the question is, it's not really a question, but I don't know how to phrase it as a question. But the request is, please tell us about your hobbies and interests. One of which, of course, will be, how did you get into typology?
Okay, I'm going to tell a semi-common story, and that is that I found MBTI. Okay, this story is not original, but my ex-boyfriend, who is an ESTP, took the test at some workforce group or whatever, and he came back and wanted me to take the test because he was interested, and took the test. This was about 4 years ago or something like that. I thought it was interesting, so I started learning about it. And I started using the intertype relations chart with MBTI types, and thinking about people and the way people interact and affect each other. So eventually I just decided it was easier to learn socionics and than to use MBTI types. At some point I realized that socionics was extremely challenging to learn, and that having debates and having your ideas thought of as competent was not easy. So I started trying, a little bit harder, paying more attention to people in the groups that knew what they were talking about.
Do you want to say who those people are?
No.
No.
Who they are really just changes based upon who it is that is being convincing at the time. So anyways, I don't really know why it is that I like typology, other than at some point it just kind of became a way to think about the world, and ever since then it's been important. It changed the way that I think about things. It broadened my perspective quite a bit, so I'm starting to slowly care a little bit less about socionics. I realize the applicability is there's not much applicability. So the only benefit that I actually did get from it was having my viewpoint widened just a bit, being more understanding myself more, the strengths and limitations of other people, basically, and myself.
Do you find that you know how there's that routine in Seinfeld? It's not you, it's me. Could it be as a case of it's not you, it's not me, it's the intertype relation? They're not suitable. So it's like it gives you a reason to think, okay, is this my fault, or is this a type interrelation problem? And so you can.
I think a lot of things come into play in relationships, and I think that socionics does apply, but the amount of similarities and differences that people share are spanned by much more than socionics.
Yeah.
And at times, if you want to break it down to the most simple non-human aspects of interaction, then maybe socionics could be a basic explanation for how things work. I find that intertype relations is the practicality of how it actually applies in real life is very subtle. I would say that it does play a big part, but it's not. It doesn't play such a big part that if you don't know socionics that you would understand these differences. Anyway, so I think what really got me into typology was, me just being selfish and wanting to, understand myself more and things like that. And partly it was just like a mental game.
Has it helped you?
Has it helped what?
Has it helped? Do you think? Do you feel it's helped you?
I think it has helped me, but I don't know. That might be an overstatement, but it has definitely changed the way that I think about things and see the world. I think basically I take, as much as I can, I take all new things as progress. So whether it was socionics or something else, every little bit of experience that I get is helpful. So the short answer to that is yes, it's been helpful.
Do you think it's helped you to narrow down to also to look at your own weaknesses as well, and to think, is this a weakness of me, or is this a weakness of my type, or a bit of both? And then to help you to maybe work on that weakness, or maybe think, okay, I can only do so much to patch this up.
Well, what I can say to that is that although I may be aware of how I feel in the moment, I don't always have a lot of ability to step back and look at my actions. So it has given me a way to view myself objectively and step out of the subjective zone of observation of the exterior world. Yeah, I think there's a type of perspective that you're asking about that I'm not quite sure what you're asking, actually.
Well,
like specifically.
I was just thinking maybe it's a self-help tool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, always. What type of self-help? Yeah, it has helped me understand myself and possibly express my strengths better. I don't want to give too much away about like what type that I think I am, but I can probably say I think that I'm an SF or in that club. It helped me to realize that in a way I am kind of pushy and I am kind of, it helped me to take some of the behavioral patterns that I have and turn them into good things instead of just being reactionary. If that's even a word, I don't know.
I personally think that a lot of people who are in typology is maybe consciously or unconsciously or semi-consciously, as the types become their role model for a lot of people when they want to become like, how can I become the best version of this type? And that's how I see it, because it's like when they identify with the type, and you get.
Sorry, my cat stepped on my laptop, and
I was just saying. I think a lot of people see the type as a role model to measure themselves again, and almost to give themselves validation.
Totally. I think that's why the majority of people study socionics. It's very superficial and in a way narcissistic, but in a way that most people are narcissistic. It's not necessarily like an extreme behavior. Sure, I mean a lot of people do idealize the type. A lot of people, they'll question my ability to type and stuff like that and apply socionics because I don't really identify with a type, but for me, it's like, well, you need to be able to remain objective. And if all you're doing is weighing socionics by what quadra you think you're in, or what type you think you're in, what, you know, elemental values you think you have, then you're not practicing socionics the right way.
I was thinking that it is, if somebody is
personal, you know.
If somebody is, say you've got somebody who say their polar function is making them insecure,
But they don't know it,
and they don't know why they feel that way. So say you have an INFP or an INTP, and they're insecure in their area of pressure and things, and then when they read these and then when they understand about the problems that INTPs and INFPs have, they can go, right, oh right, that explains it. There's other people like me. It's not me.
I think that's very positive.
And I think that can be a positive, and also talking to other people about the same thing.
So yeah, they have a way to identify a deeper part of themselves. Sure.
That is a problem area, and if they can also say, okay, this is not so much a problem of me, although it's something in my type,
and that you can improve, and you can feel accepted, and you know, accept part of yourself for that. Sure, I think that's important. I've never personally had a problem with self-acceptance. In general, I'm not saying it's not okay. It's okay to, you know, have a problem with that, but part of who I am basically just says that everybody should basically, you know, accept themselves to the fullest, you know, which you have to do before you can treat other people, you know, with as much respect and love as you can. You have to accept yourself. But so back to socionics. Sometimes I do feel a pride about what type I am, or, you know, what sort of values that I have, but I try to kind of move away from that. I don't identify with these things anyway. If I do, it's like a momentary feeling and it goes away. I keep getting off topic and talking about things that you didn't ask me about.
Well, it's me, but I think we're in the right ballpark, and also things like I'll say what I think, and then you can see if it's similar in this. Is that
I wanted to talk about what you just said, but then I'm like, by the time I digressed, like I forgot what you were talking about.
It was about by understanding it's because it means if someone is if someone's an INFP, I mean INFPs tend to be quite, oh, nobody understands how I feel. If they once find that they are an INFP, and they actually go into socionics and find out about the polar function, find out about the issues that they have, or if they find out they're an Enneagram 4, and they can learn all these things, and they have like a support network, and then they know then they can separate out, okay, how much is this because of my type, and how much is it because of my own circumstances? How much can I change to improve in this area, to get by in this area, not become great, but to get by. And then I also think that typology is useful for understanding that people will see things differently, that you can't change.
Very important thing also. It's okay for each different type of person to have their own strengths and limitations. And I think that's an important thing to understand.
Yeah.
I think once you accept that, interaction with people will be a lot more easy, and people will be a lot less judgmental, which is important if you want to interact with people appropriately in a less, selfish way.
And that's what David Kersey put in this book in 1978 version, that people hear different drummers, hear different beats, all that kind of thing, that you can't change people. to a certain extent once they're, and you have to work with
Yeah,
what
sure.
you've got.
My cat is such a freaking spoiled attention whore.
One thing, talking about understanding, what do you think of Enneagram?
I do not understand the Enneagram. I have tried to understand the Enneagram. I stopped caring. I do not like. I don't like introspection enough to figure out what my Enneagram type is. I cannot do it.
What about when you did that, the Riso Hudson Enneagram type indicator?
You mean like what have I tested as?
Yeah.
I test as different things. I do not. MBTI, Socionics, and Enneagram, I do not test as the same thing almost ever. But with Enneagram, I have often gotten Enneagram 2. I used to think I was an Enneagram 2, which I'm not. Most recent thing that I've considered 9 and 7. But I've talked to friends about it, and they've said, I don't think that you have any of these characteristics. And I've said, well, are you sure? I think I might. But, and at that point, I just stopped worrying about it. But, okay, so the closest that I've got is that I think that I'm either a 6 or an 8.
Right. You sent me some Enneagram results on the 30th of August last year.
Oh, really?
Do you want me to show them?
Sure.
Let's see.
Thank you for asking first.
Well, I'm not an ENTP. And you can be quite scary, so I don't want to get on the wrong side of you.
I think you overestimate my my GER.
Your GER.
Hey, look. Yeah, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 2 are all.
Oh, wow. That is crazy.
Okay, just first of all, I can rule out 2. I'm not a 2. I'm not a 5. I'm not a 4. Okay, I'm probably like, I could say I'm like a 4-wing 3 or a 6-wing 7. Now, for a long time, I was going as an Enneagram 8, and I wouldn't be personally surprised if I was an Enneagram 8.
I think, what about 6-wing 5? Because you are interested in, I mean, I personally think you're part of the artisan temperament. And I think that for an artisan to be interested in the sort of things you're interested in, it's probably going to be due to like a 5-wing or something.
You know, what if I'm an Enneagram 8 and I disintegrate into a 5? I think that's a possibility. And integrate into a 2. But
it's possible, but we would have to see the other negative 8 qualities, I suppose, in order for that to work.
Honestly, if somebody said like you have to pick right now, I would pick a 6.
Which would actually fit the type that we think you are. Well, in certain systems, that 6 is connected to a certain function, and in other systems, the way the actual people like Riso and Hudson, they actually do. Riso and Hudson correlate Enneatype 6 with FI, and I don't know if you've done a video yet with Hannah. Hannah's an Enneatype 6.
Yeah. Glycotyped or EIE, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is some interesting things in there. Maybe. So I'm looking forward to that profile being translated.
Okay.
One thing I can say about this is the whole purpose of the Enneagram, in fact, is to release people from their drives and motivations. So it's like a source of liberation, so they can notice these habits within them So maybe it's a good thing that you've not got one central thing driving you, that you're more complicated than that.
You know, one other thing that I was thinking is that what if I were an Enneagram 6 and I was not a type that was correlated to the Enneagram 6, which could throw off my socionics idea of myself?
It's tricky.
It is tricky. Overall, I don't really care about Enneagram, only because I haven't been able to figure it out. There's too much to think about, and yeah, too much to think about. That's what it is.
What it does is it gives you a lens. So, for instance,
if it did, that would be helpful, but it doesn't. It just confuses me and makes me stress out because I have to think about my behavior and my inner world, which is annoying. Like,
but okay, I'll have a bash. Enneagram 2, that would correlate with, like, say, the creative function in the ISFP. So if we're saying ISFP is FISI, in terms of what they do,
I would have
to say that
there's no way I'm an Enneagram 2. There's no way.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, I'm just sort of explaining why that result's quite high.
Ah, okay.
Enneagram 4 is, well, ISFP can be artistic. It's in Kersey, it's the composer. 5's going to be around there. With 4, 5, and 6, they tend to be around there with each other. And then 7, that could be due to the extroverted sensing, the temperament, the hormonal temperament. So that's not that wacky.
At one point, I thought Enneagram 7 was probably the least likely type, but in the past year, I've considered Enneagram 7 because of my disdain for introspection.
I think.
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. Other. Yeah, I'll fill. Yeah. So if people watch the first hangout, I think a lot of the things that Carrina said, there were some things that. Anyhow, okay. People can see it. We can go on to the next topic. Right. So, right. Some little production things going on. Right. So we've talked about typology. Are there any other typology systems out there that you're?
There are no. I'm gonna have to start talking a little bit quieter, but.
Yeah. Okay.
I do not practice any other typology systems right now. No. There are a lot of other personality theories that I don't follow, that I know about.
Right.
Right. I can talk more about other interests.
Yes. Yes. So some of the things before we talk about other interests, we down here is like artwork, writing, poetry, music. So if you talk about those sort of things.
Okay.
Do you do artwork?
I do sometimes, but not lately. I haven't for about 2 years or something like that. It's time consuming, and it makes me a little bit frustrated because I have to focus so much. So yeah, I can draw really well. I do sketches and I do creative. It's not generally when I draw, it's not real world based. It's very abstract. I can't do like symmetry. I can't do profiles or people's faces because I can't like do the measurements properly. So I gave up on that a long time ago. But generally what it looks like, it's like esoteric things, like it'll look like fairies and like a giant waterfall coming out of a tree or something like that. So yeah.
Well,
okay.
In Dario's research, ISFP has a heck of a lot of NI going on. It really does.
Well, I think in Model A, ISFP has a lot of NI. But I think the ISFP in Myers-Briggs is often the ESFP in socionics because of the way the IE is judged.
Maybe. I mean, like,
I think it's more likely than a lot of the other mistypings.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about typings rather than the actual way the profiles are conceived, that's a different kettle of fish.
Fair enough.
I tend to ignore the typing methods because they're not that accurate. I mean,
I tend to
many
ignore
typing methods.
Says the TE ignoring type. Just kidding.
Well, it's just like even that salty test with like it went to so much effort. Did Victor whatever, not Victor Galenko, Victor, the other one, the other Victor, the Russian Victor, and 160 questions, and I come out as an EII. Thank you.
I tested in Elena's test as an SEE 5 times. 5. I don't know.
Well, I think with Elena's test.
Oh, not Elena's test. Sorry, the one that she was. What's that guy's name?
Was it Psyche Yoga?
Huh?
Sorry, what was his name?
It's a Russian name. I think it's Trolanov or something like that. Anyway, it was the most recent test. I sent you the results.
From what I can remember, you did show me your artwork, and it was very good.
Why, thank you. So
what I remember you showing me some of your poetry, and that definitely was very good.
I'm glad you think so, because sometimes I read it and I'm like, well, this is really stupid.
I thought it was very well written, yeah. So in terms of artwork, what kind of artwork do you like?
To be fair, I don't think about it very much. I'm not the type of person who really likes to look at artwork or admire artwork, or I don't even give a shit about like in general, I don't really care about like decorations and stuff like that. But what kind of artwork do I like? Well, original, bright colors.
Are there any like classical names that?
No, I do not study art. Not even in the slightest.
There's one great portrait painter called Velasquez. He was good. Spanish painter, very good. What kind of so when you've written poetry, do you like are there any famous poets that you like?
No. No, there's not. I can only recall one famous poet, and that is Shakespeare, and I do not like Shakespeare.
So you write good poetry without having actually read much poetry. So you're that talented, are you?
I haven't read any poetry, really, no.
Oh, raw talent, people, raw talent.
Whatever. So the reason why I write I'm trying to be quiet. The reason why I write poetry is because a lot of times I can get really, like, emotionally charged. I can have really, I would call it overflowing emotional world. And then something worldly will come to mind. Some worldly, problem that people have will come to mind, and I will try to illustrate it with, influential language, trying to, that's basically my technique, is to hit close to home. But anyway, I haven't really done poetry or artwork in years.
Right. So when you're transcribing it, you can say, at this bit, Ben then asked me to actually write up in the report what I would have said if I'd have had more time to think about it. So you could, the bit that you can add in afterwards in greater detail about why you write poetry, and sort of say, this is the section, what I meant to say was this.
No, I said exactly what I meant to say.
Okay, fair enough. Now you've got to type that up in the transcript. It's going to come across as a bit meta.
Refuses offer to write poetry into report.
Right. So, what about writing in general? Creative writing and stories.
I'm pretty bad with it.
That was a cat, folks. That was a cat.
Yeah, my cat. She's trying to get on my laptop. But no, I don't do creative writing. Sorry.
Right. So, if people want to see,
I do not like I don't like sitting at my computer. Okay, I can write essays and stuff like that if I have to, but I don't like sitting at my computer and trying to structure a bunch of paragraphs. Like, for me, what I feel like I'm doing is finding information to present, and it's not authentic. But now, as for like writing stories, I don't really do that.
Yeah, I've heard similar things from Jeff, because he finds it hard for the structure.
That's the problem. I mean, I can do it, but it'll be like, I hate to put it this way, but I'll be bullshitting. Like, I just do the very simplest structure that I can possibly, do. And, I actually realized a technique recently that I could make it easier because I was writing many, many essays. So the technique that I found was, well, first of all, you write an outline. You just say, well, here's the introduction, here's paragraph 1, 2, 3, and summary. And then you write, like, indicate what each sentence is going to be. And then it's like, this is really difficult for me. So it's like introduction. Basically, it's just extremely simplified. And it's like, I'm bullshitting. I just try and make it, appear like I give a shit. That's basically what I do.
But you see, if they actually taught people like the way Robert McKee teaches people to write stories, where he would say, like, if you gave you the structure as a story is a quest, and you go, right, okay, so the hero or heroine, they want something. Right, so you work, okay, what do they want? And so it has to be a strong enough motivation for them to overcome obstacles. So a really strong, so what are the obstacles that they need to overcome? What kind of ending? How can I get a twist ending? And once you've got your ending, okay, what kind of characters do I need? So once all these techniques have been learnt, it then becomes a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
And also knowledge of other stories, where people go, oh, I can take this bit from this story, just change it a bit, and this bit and this bit.
See, that's what Walt Disney did, and he got berated and ended up being, the most famous story writer ever. Even though none of his stories were original, they were all, they were flared out stories from other people.
Yeah, and with Shakespeare, 2 of his stories were original. That's it. I think it was Love's Labour's Lost and The Tempest. All the others were reworks.
Interesting. I wish I liked Shakespeare because he is so influential and strikes home with a lot of people, and I like the idea of Shakespeare, but I don't like reading it.
Now, I have something for you.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, I have something for you. Something you'll love. You will love this. Shakespeare without the language problem. Shakespeare made easy. One side has the original English, and the other side has it in modern English.
Okay.
So Shakespeare made easy.
Reminds me of the Bible.
Yeah, so the original on the left. And then the power of the characterization still comes through. So there you go. Shakespeare made easy, folks.
I will Google it.
Right.
I said I will Google it. I can find anything online.
Right.
If need be. No.
We're talking about story structure.
Let's just say that I have struggled with it to the max.
Now, what I found is that it's a very TI thing. Do you think it's TI thing?
I do.
And now this diagram is based on a Robert-McKee diagram, and you can let me know if you think it's a little bit TI.
One thing I will mention really quick. I remember when I was first having math classes in like second grade or something like that, and we had to read through the book, and they would show a graph to illustrate, you know, the measurements or whatever you would call it. I imagine it was comparisons between figures or whatever. But ever since I could first read a math book up until now, when I see one of those graphs, I skip it and I only read it if I have to.
Right.
So anyways, yeah, this I feel like what I'm looking at now, I feel like it would take me a few hours to study this, and then I would still have to take notes and rewrite it in my own words before I could understand it.
But it's worth it with that kind of. It just shows you the series of.
It's scary, I'll tell you that. It's just so much information. I mean, it's not necessarily that it's so much information. It's just, yeah, it's too much going on. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be good for a study guide. I'll say that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is not the writing theory hangout though. We can do those in future. But it's just a lot of. I summarised some ideas from Robert McKee about turning points, the gap between expectation and result, all these sorts of things. And
you know, I noticed one of the other things that the TI lead has will like write things in code. Like you have to decode it before you can read it.
Pardon, what was that?
TI lead types will write things in code, and you have to decode it before you can read it.
Well, I or other people have to decode it.
The people reading it have to decode it.
Well, we try to simplify things. To us, we're simplifying things, but to other people, not so much.
You know, it's simplified, sure, into code.
Well, right. Okay. Right. So we could do separate.
That looks like a treasure map to me.
Pardon?
It looks like a treasure map to me.
Well, yes. If you understand it, it leads to treasure, possibly. Right. So, talked about artwork. You've not shown us any artwork.
I honestly don't have any.
Okay, fair enough.
I give all my artwork away. That's why I do it. I actually don't have the inspiration to do artwork unless it's for someone else.
I don't think I imagined it, but I think I have seen. I know that your poetry is good, but I think I've seen your artwork and I was impressed. think so.
It's
I'm
possible.
about I think it was about 99% sure on the artwork thing. So what about music? Because there's a folks, if you go to Carrina's channel, and in fact this video might be re-uploaded to her channel. I don't mind. But she's got a mandolin video on her channel.
Oh, yeah, here we go. No, I actually made that video unlisted, but here's my mandolin. And let me tell you the story of how I got this mandolin. Someone said that if I could learn to play a song on it, they would give it to me. So I won the mandolin by learning to play a song on it. And because I was given this mandolin, now I have to learn how to play it really well so I can actually deserve it.
Wow, so somebody knew there what to do with SPs. That's a sort of like an SP thing. That's the sort of thing people would say to SPs.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
it's a challenge.
You know? Yeah, it was great. So I won a mandolin. I'll just say that by learning how to play Yankee Doodle.
Right.
And now I mash up sounds together.
So do you like freestyle?
It's not necessarily that I like it. It's just that I don't know other ways to do it. I have done things like, see, I can read music a little bit, but not much. So I'll go online, I'll find the sheet music, and then I'll go find the piano sheet music and like freaking decode it, and then like decode it for the mandolin, and then practice it slowly. And then once I get the technique down, I work on speed, and then it looks like I'm better than I am.
So one of the other interests is you mentioned it a little bit, but I think you did Krav Maga.
I like all forms of martial arts. Most forms of martial arts. Boxing as well. I was heavy into boxing for a long time. Ballet. I've done ballet. Yoga. I did yoga for a while. Yeah, I did a lot of that stuff.
Why did you like ballet and yoga?
Probably the same reasons I like the other stuff, which is for ballet, I find ballet very enjoyable. I also find yoga very enjoyable. Well, I mean, I just like to get into the moment, and I'm not sure, you know, it's just I'm using my body, and I like that.
What does it feel like for you when you are in the moment?
I'm generally always in the moment, first of all. You know, it would be harder for me to explain that because I don't know what it's like to not live in the moment, to be honest. I was thinking about that earlier. When I first heard it's like a spiritual, you know, affirmation to try and live in the moment. For me, when I tried that, I was like, what does this mean? This is stupid. Why would I do that? And then I realized
that was Jeff.
Huh?
Jeff said something similar as well. Not live in the moment.
Yeah, I need to not live in the moment. I live in the moment.
It was like, who are
these spiritual gurus? They don't know anything.
Who are these weird people that don't live in the moment?
Not live in the moment. What does that mean? What is that? How can I learn this tactic?
But like when you were doing ballet, and I suppose it's.
Let me explain what I would call SE mode. I'll explain SE mode, or what it is like to live in the moment. I'll try that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I explained this at one point to an ILI friend of mine.
With a bed?
No. Okay. Okay. You're hypersensitive to your environment, and it's like, okay, it's like everything just stands out at you or something, and fuck, I explained this much better previously.
Take some.
Okay, I'll take my time. Let me just think about it for a second.
Okay.
Okay, you know when you get in fight or flight?
Yep.
That. Everything around you becomes super obvious, and you can almost feel your environment. It's like being super aware of physical things, but all the time.
Right.
But there's another hyper SE mode. It's not. I'm not always in the hyper like SE mode. Like I'm always in a SE-ish mode, but the hyper SE mode is just. It's like that, but triple times. It's like, when you drop your phone out of your hand and you like ninja like catch it, and everything moves sort of slow. Have you ever done that? Like drop your phone and then like quickly just catch it with your foot or something?
No, I'm not an SP like that. I just usually go, oh no!
That almost never happens, but it's funny. Well, I've trained myself to stick my foot out if I drop my phone.
Well, it's like like a footballer, just like knock it up and catch it. That's flash. The like keepy uppy. You drop the phone, you keep it up on your toe, and then you catch it again. Is that what you do?
No, I wish I could. I wish I did that as a reaction to life. No.
I bet EJOND has practiced that, and he would sort of do it on purpose.
I knew an SLE who could juggle, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And we worked at an amusement park together, and I saw him juggling, and I was like, I'm not that cool. That's crazy. I have to learn how to do this. So I practiced, and I never could juggle. I can't even juggle two things.
Did you say that about Jay, or was somebody else, someone different? Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else. An SLE that I know, not Jay.
Right. Because he does come from almost your part of the world.
Almost. Yeah. Thankfully not. Just kidding. Ha 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 ha.
Right. What we got here? What? Right. Okay. So that was very interesting what you said about SE mode, because it made me think of all like the science programs. So they talk about when the adrenaline's running, and the dopamine mode of.
It must be dopamine.
Yeah. That you'll have these boxers, and I don't know what it is. It's not a racial thing, but Mexican boxers are like, they can be like totally beaten up, and they just like they just don't have you can't beat their spirit. You have to like physically beat them in order to beat a Mexican boxer.
I had a Mexican friend who we lived in an apartment complex, and there was a bunch of rednecks there, and they were really racist. And one of the rednecks that were my friend walked up to the Mexican guy who was my friend and like hit him in the face. And the Mexican was like, gigantic buff guy. And he was like, I will not hit you. I will not hit you. And the guy punched him in the face again. And he was like, I will not hit you. And the dude eventually left him alone.
Just the durability. And people can notice that for themselves when they see boxing. Just you. Extremely durable, but the point there is generally is you can see some boxers have been like totally beaten, but and they've got like a smile on their face at the end of it, and they're just respecting them, and you can see that they've like, even though they've been beaten, they're still on a high from the fight.
Yeah, when adrenaline hits, you really can't. I'm not going to say that there's always adrenaline in a fight, because there's not always adrenaline in a fight, but whenever you have adrenaline, you really can't feel pain. I had adrenaline one time.
Oh.
I jumped out of a vehicle onto gravel, a moving vehicle. I didn't feel it until afterwards.
I didn't feel that I broke my nose in a taekwondo competition because of the adrenaline.
You didn't feel it?
Didn't feel it. There's blood everywhere, all over the taekwondo suit, but I didn't feel it.
Yeah, exactly.
So these weird things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time I did it. Didn't do any more tournaments after that.
That's funny. I never went to a karate tournament. My little brother did. He's in ENTJ. He was very bad at it, and that was the only tournament he ever went to.
Right. Yeah, but because I was only a little bit overweight at the time, so my opponent was like 6'5". I was like, oh, this is not going to work out.
You were like, oh, great.
I should have used my NI because it was at the time. Because what I should have worked out was, wait a minute, they're being paired with the guy in front of them. I'm in front of the guy who's 6'5". I think I'll just move back and go behind the squirt, so to make it easy time for myself. I should have seen that coming. Now I would have seen the NI. I can see how this is going. Guy's fighting the guy in front of him. I've got a big guy in front of me. I'll go back one. I should have done that. What was I thinking? Right.
Nobody likes being beat up. Nobody. Well, actually, my sister punched me in the face once. And I got really mad. Actually, she has punched me in the face multiple times.
Was that the twin-on-twin violence?
That's right, buddy. I'm going to switch to my mobile phone really quick.
Okay.
Let's see if this works.
Wow. Okay. I've got a feel now. Okay, it should be okay. Is it like a dance number there? Okay, so... Oh, okay. Right, okay, so we've done martial arts. Oh, well, certainly what you've been saying there fits one of two groupings, like the artisan grouping or the EP grouping, but I would say much more the SE grouping. And what else? Maybe if you could tell the audience, especially the female audience, about the benefits of Krav Maga for women.
Well, I'm no expert of Krav Maga, but Krav Maga is amazing. The benefits of Krav Maga, well, first of all, I would say don't place yourself in positions that are going to make you have to use it. But, well, I mean, if your opponent is, I say opponent, I mean, if you're aggressor, you don't use Krav Maga as an aggressive stance, you use it as a defense stance. Anyway, if your opponent is bigger than you, I'll just explain what it is. It's soft target. You're softening your target. You hit weak points, not pressure points, but weak points. Well, you're disabling them. I don't know why my other person joined that call again. Sorry, but
your twin.
She's my evil twin. Okay.
I wasn't going to say that.
It's okay.
You must say, "Hey Ben, I love her."
Hey, I love my evil twin. So Krav Maga is for defense. You're trying to weaken your aggressor. You don't want to just strike them one time. You want to strike multiple times as fast as possible in very soft areas like eyes, mandible, ears, groin, throat. You know, things like that.
And
then you run. That's the goal. You get away.
And people need to know where it comes from. That it came from the Israeli military, and I think it's Hebrew for like contact combat or something.
I actually don't know.
And in Israel, men and women have to do national service. So this particular kind of martial arts it's going to have an emphasis on something that women can use. And so those techniques of going for because it's no messing around, it's the real deal. It's not fancy moves. It's the real thing.
And I've always said, I'm not going to, for me, I'm not, oh, there's a little spider there. Okay, I wouldn't say that I'm a fighter. I have older brothers that I have enjoyed fighting with. You know, I do like to wrestle and things like this with my, you know, I also have done grappling with friends and stuff like that. It's fun. I've done mud wrestling or whatever. That aside, I don't mean to get off topic.
Whoa. Mud wrestling?
Yeah, it's really fun.
Were you paid?
No. You just get with a bunch of people. I live in West Virginia, okay? This is normal. So, anyway, I don't actually remember what I was going to say there. So, what was the main point? Not mud wrestling, not grappling. Right before that, I was talking about something. Oh, I don't consider myself a fighter. I'm not going to fight people like in a serious fight for fun.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be actually defending myself, I'm going to be very serious about it, and my main objective will be to end the conflict as quickly as possible in the, you know, least dangerous way as possible. That's the general philosophy there. I have been in situations where there's been violence and things like this, and I've had to step in, take control of the situation. Probably not until I became an adult did I become good at this, when I actually understood that at a point sometimes you have to leave the situation, but other times maybe you can't leave the situation, or you prefer not to leave the situation because other people, you know, may need you there or something. Anyway, in my adult life, I'm now better at controlling the situation rather than making it worse. So anyway, I have been in conflicts before, and I have had to step in and neutralize an aggressive person. And in that specific situation that I'm talking about, it's not about hurting the other person, and if you can, you avoid hurting the other person. That's, you know, that's basically the goal, is for no one to get hurt. Anyway, end of spiel.
Right. Do you want to tell the story about how you beat up an ESTP?
Not really.
Okay.
I'll tell part of it. So, my father was there, first of all, and then when my father left, this person started calling me filthy names, and I said, "You're going to talk to me with respect." And they said, "No, I'm not." And I said, "Yeah, you are, or you're going to back up out of my personal space." And they said, "What are you going to do, hit me?" And I said, "No, but, you know, since you suggested that, I probably will if you don't back the fuck up." And then I did hit them multiple times, this male, grown male. And he left.
Which spots did you hit them in?
The face. Now, the thing about that is, I regretted it. He did deserve it. I just didn't think, I thought it would have been better if somebody else was there to do it instead of me, because of our relationship. I really don't think it's okay for people who love each other to hit each other. But, you know, for me, the personal space, the respect inside of my personal space is really important. And, I mean, I do feel bad for it, but I wouldn't take it back. Or maybe I would. Maybe I would, you know, find another way to change the situation. It's possible.
Right. Now, these next two questions, we can finish on these, but they're only... I'll ask you questions about... First question will be, how'd you get on with the ENTJs? And the next question would be is, how'd you get on with ENTPs?
The answer to both questions is fine. Okay, so I've had multiple ENTJ friends over the course of my life. Okay, so my little brother's an ENTJ. We fought a lot, which was fun. Sometimes we argue, but it's not like bad arguing. It's just like he says something and I'm like, well, that's stupid and this is why. And he's like, well, okay, but what you just said is stupid and this is why. And then we just keep doing that until we both agree.
Do you feel that you communicate when you're talking to ENTJs? Do you feel you're talking a similar language?
Sure.
Do you think? I think you talked about it before. Do you feel that you've experienced personally a lot of evidence for the Gamma Quadra?
The way that I prefer to see the quadras or socionics in general is slightly different than a lot of people would see it, and that is that the types in each quadra are basically very, very similar or the same type, technically. I would say in socionics, they're basically, this isn't my original idea, but I did think of it before I asked another person about this. So anyway, I asked a few people. I said, do you think that basically all the types in the same quadra are the same type? One of my friends, which actually was an ENTJ, said no. But another friend that was an INTJ said, well, yes, definitely.
Did that friend have a beard?
Did that friend have a what?
A beard.
A bid? Like a dog in the
beard.
A beard, yes.
Right. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so if you go on my YouTube channel, you can see where we did actually talk about that. So anyway, so the ENTJ friend said, well, definitely not. ESFPs are all like, I'm grandstanding. ISFPs are all like, I'm classy. So he was fine with saying that the types in the Gamma Quadra are all different. I would say they're mostly the same, and I don't think about it that much. So do I speak the same language? I think instead of saying I speak the same language as gammas, I would say I speak a different language than alphas. It's not necessarily a different language, it's that what we choose to care about is different.
So was it this guy?
Yeah, but I don't know how he feels about bringing it up in this video, because it really has nothing to do with him.
There you go.
Thank you. I don't personally mind, I just don't know how he feels about it.
Oh, well, he gets annoyed by so many different things. And anyhow.
Anyway.
Right, so you think that... Now, if you said that to Jer, he would be like, he really dislikes ENTJs. What did he call them? Poopy heads.
Poopy heads. Well, I don't know. I can't say that I agree with him. I mean, obviously ENTJs have specific characteristics that can be seen as negative, and I'm not going to pretend like they don't. All types do. Which is fine. You know, I don't judge people by type. I think that's silly.
And
anyway, ENTPs. I hate to admit this, but I try to minimize contact. because I know that there's a high possibility for conflict, and I want to keep a good rapport. So I try to make sure the relationship is mutually beneficial by only talking about what's necessary, getting to business, doing that, and then occasionally maybe a little hardy har here and there.
So you really are trying to keep them at a distance.
I do.
And you don't want to be in a position where you have to trust them.
Actually, I've never considered that. You know, to be completely honest, the way I feel about trust and people is sort of like, if I don't give people the chance to abuse my trust, because I understand the nature of people. If I give them the chance to abuse my trust and they do, that's my fault because I gave them that ability. It's not their fault. So I take responsibility for the outcomes that I want to see.
Cool.
Anyway, with the ENTPs, yes, I do minimize contact, not because of trust, but because I don't want to create disharmonious friendships, especially friendships that I think I may benefit from, or the other person may benefit from. Let me put it this way: I see them as business contacts. I see generally many of the people that I interact with, I see as business contacts. Or an ally. I prefer the word ally because that distinguishes a higher level of trust than business contact. With allies, I try to provide a service. That's generally what I attempt to do. I want myself and other people to benefit from our interaction. If there's not going to be some kind of benefit, I try to minimize the interaction, and then again try to interact again when there's going to be a mutual benefit.
Do you find
with everyone?
Do you find ENTPs funny?
I find that they try to be funny, and I find that I will laugh for them.
For them. Yeah, because I mean, all ENTPs. I mean, there is one ENTP Facebook group out there.
Oh, I interact with them sometimes, and I do find it entertaining. I remember this now.
Yeah, there is one particular ENTP group that is like, wow, this group really should be renamed. It's like the NT. Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. Like, there's a time to let loose and not give a fuck. And sometimes I avoid them until I'm in the mood where I can handle it. But I mean, sometimes I go to that specific ENTP group and I'm just like, what the fuck am I looking at?
It's like that group is so, because it's just called ENTP, but there's like 4 or 5 ENTP groups, but that one particular group is pretty distinctive.
It's distinctive because the goal of that group is to be as offensive as possible. If I'm talking about the same group as you.
Right. One last thing. Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. One of your subject areas that. Right. Well, she's off. I'll mention it.
You can keep talking.
Okay. It is. I think you have mentioned various things in science you are interested in. So, yes. What are those kind of what sort of things in science are you interested in?
I'm basically just interested in the way the world works. But you're probably asking for specifics.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one sec. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you. So nothing comes to mind. I'm studying environmental science. I'm more so interested in the application of solutions. That's generally I'm interested in. Well, I can give you something just came to mind. I'm interested in the way things work on a cellular level. So I'm interested in biology, anatomy. I did do some medical school, and then I switched out of it.
This is a good book.
Oh yeah.
The hormones of the ancient temperaments. So we've got estrogen, testosterone, serotonin, and dopamine.
I have looked into those things a bit. I've looked into for a while there. I was interested in how chemicals from food interact with the body.
What? Why is that?
Why is that? Because I hate the doctor. I hate going to the doctors. I've had medical problems and I've done research to try and fix those problems, and for the most part, it has been beneficial. So I got into doing like home remedies for a while.
Any good ones?
Now,
You'd like to tell the audience about?
it's kind of moved away from home remedies and turned into so okay, I'll tell you one. Um, there is a substance, it's a fatty acid called D-mannose. So you can find it in various fruits. Anyway, they extract it from the fruits. You find them in elderberries and blueberries and cranberries, and you take it for blood health and kidney functioning. So I don't know like on a very deep level. On a deep level I do know how it works. But there's probably other things I'd rather talk about than that. I don't know.
Oh, great! You sat down now. You're like going around in a circle or something.
Okay, so the basic idea is that the way the body works is that there are, I mean, you obviously know how the body works, but
It was a while ago. I remember quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, my techniques are you have to look at the way the body functions, which has to do with functioning on a cellular level, how the cell metabolizes various things, and the way different chemicals in the body react. You know what I mean? And how your cells, metabolize different chemicals and transfer those throughout the body. So, basically that's what I look at. And each part of the body does something different. And, on a very basic level, you need various minerals, vitamins, and even on a deeper level, you need certain chemicals and, compounds to function properly. And I I don't know like what every single compound that the body needs is, but if I need to know, I can find out really easily. And certain problems are specific, you know, to whatever the solution is. There's a specific problem that has to do with chemical interactions.
I think I think you told me that you looked into the dopamine system.
Just a bit.
What do you think of it?
The hormonal system
Yeah.
regulates everything in the body, so it's pretty important. I'd recommend that everybody goes to the doctor and gets a, gets blood work done and look at, what types of hormones you got going on. I wouldn't recommend getting on vitamins or supplements or anything like that. I would recommend finding what types of food stimulate hormone production and reduction, and introduce foods into your diet that would promote optimal functioning for your own person.
So are there any particular kinds of food to make artisan children less artisan?
Yeah, I heard catnip does wonders. Just kidding. I would never put my kid on catnip. But I recommend that if you want to, you look into it. Just kidding.
I suppose don't give an SP child sugar.
Don't give them any fucking caffeine, first of all.
Right.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ. My aunt lets my ESFP niece drink caffeine, and I'm like, what is your problem? What are you thinking?
So did you put sugar in there as well?
The sugar I think less about, because it's obvious that no one should ever eat sugar, especially corn syrup, first of all, but we do anyway. Everyone's going to. So I don't recommend. I don't ever tell people don't do that, because everyone knows that. So
I don't think they do.
Oh, I think everyone knows not to eat sugar, but I mean, I'm not gonna stop eating sugar.
You could do a Jesse Waters thing, like on Fox News. Ask people in the street to test it out. What do you think of sugar in kids? Oh, we'll phrase it. Oh, I don't let my kids go without. Oh, I let them have sugar if they want to. They set my scarf on fire, but I don't care.
See, that's my basic philosophy. I have an ESFP kid, and he's a picky eater. I don't know what to say. I have to trick him into eating vegetables, and it doesn't ever work. So I want him to not starve. It's not the best way to do it, but it's not about letting him go without. It's just I don't want him to starve. I tricked him into thinking cucumbers were pickles, and now he was eating cucumbers today, and it was really cute. He was saying, I want a pickle, Mommy.
Oh no! He said, did he say he wanted to pickle you?
Yeah, he wanted to pickle.
I thought he wanted to pickle you, put you in vinegar and in a big jar.
He would. No, I'm just kidding. No. He wants a pickle. So I let him think that the cucumbers were pickles and cut them up and had him eat them. And I was so happy. I was like, yes,
what you could do.
Get extra vegetable on the meal plan. Yes.
I mean, if you're in Russia, you could get like so much stuff pickled. Like pickled vegetables, everything.
Oh, gross.
We might have some Russian viewers watching.
Yum, but gross. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Pickled cucumbers are enough. I would try it.
So
that's another thing I can mention. I am not a picky eater. I am not a picky eater at all. I will eat anything. I will burn something and eat that. But I don't expect other people to eat food if I burn it.
Right.
Like seriously, I'd rather roll up a piece of bread and eat that than plan a meal. Like, I'd rather roll up a piece of bread, eat it as fast as possible, and drink water so it will go down.
Right. Just got a friend request in for a group.
Oh.
54 friends joined Facebook a month ago. Not a member of any other groups.
Well, go look on their interests, because one recent one had a Their name was it was a girl interested in both men and women. Their last name was Parker, and their interests were Vassarland.
What, they actually put that?
Yeah. I was like,
Son
oh,
of a...
this isn't him at all.
Son of a...
There's also one. What was the name of the character in that book?
Kurt Avon.
No, different one. Can't remember now. Well, I could go on Facebook and look, but I don't want to go inside because I don't want to be too loud.
Right, so Avon... Stephen Avon. No.
No.
Kevin Avon.
No.
Yeah, but the INT... Oh, which
What was
book?
the name of the book? The name of the book that you know who wrote.
He wrote a book. What, Malfort?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. What? Naveen Liedl. Right, okay. Ah, no, this one looks okay. I've got relatives called Leader as well. And they've all got...
I would say this person will probably compulsively join all groups. I found the most recent one commenting on Jack's statuses. Man.
Oh, whoa. Well, you'd have to show me these. All this behind-the-scenes intrigue.
I still have the screenshot.
Oh, wow, you can send those to me. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, have you got... So, I'll write down the interests that we've gone over, and then you can say if I've missed anything out. So we've done typology, we've done artwork, writing, poetry, music, martial arts, ballet, yoga. We talked about ENTP, ENTJs.
Oh, I've dated
Beating up in the
INTJs before, by the way.
Oh, okay. How did that go?
Really well, but at the time I didn't really want to. I may have actually told you this before. I moved to Illinois for a little bit. Remember that story? Anyway. Okay, so I had a gigantic group of friends that I hung out with. I didn't really like them. They just kind of like tagged me along. And I had nothing else to do, so I hung out with them. We would go to this trucker stop restaurant, and we'd sit there and drink coffee and talk. It was a bunch of emo kids. And then there was this one guy who everybody would say hi to be nice, and eventually, like, me and him just started hanging out, instead of me hanging out with them. How it went, I will say that it's probably was the most comfortable relationship that I've ever had. What I mean by that is, I don't know what I mean by that. It was just very comfortable. Well, I mean, basically, we just sort of, since the very first moment that we were friends, we became good friends, and just kind of like, it was very natural, and we just hung out. With an emphasis on very natural. It was very natural. But it didn't turn into like a serious relationship. I wasn't really looking for that. We just hung out as friends. It was cool.
Okay.
Anyway, I found it really interesting. He talked more than I did.
Well, why did you like him?
Why did I like him? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even think he was that attractive, really. We were just friends. He was just a cool person to hang out with, I guess. I mean, he just made me comfortable, I think. The second most comfortable relationship I've ever been in was with an SLI. It was too comfortable. With the ILI, it was not too comfortable. With the SLI, it was too comfortable. It could become very boring with the SLI. Not that he was boring. With the SLI that I was dating, I had more respect for this. I had more respect for this person than I've had for almost anyone. But anyway, yeah, the types of relaxation that we did were not the same or similar at all. That became the problem.
Was that the problem with the SLI?
That was the problem with the SLI, yeah.
Right, the ICJ.
Not the ILI.
So comparing ENTJs and INTJs, who do you think you get on better with?
When I thought I was an ESI, this will illustrate how I feel about that. When I thought I was an ESI, I decided that I would probably be better off with the ILI, even though I was an ESI, because I am too confrontational and pushy, and so is an ENTJ. I had a almost relationship with an ENTJ once. We liked each other. I mean, I like ENTJs, but it's not as comfortable, and I feel that. Okay, so at this point in my life, I don't really want a relationship, but if I did, I probably wouldn't want to be with an ENTJ because I've never really been okay in relationships with people that were very extroverted. As in, how can I put this? Sort of like the home life and responsibilities of the, inner circle are. I don't know how to put this. It just feels weird talking about it. I would have the same problems with the ENTJ that I've had with ESFPs. On top of that, no LIE would ever. It's so weird for me to talk about this. My interaction style at times can be overbearing, and I just don't think that the amount of pushiness that I have it just doesn't really go with the ENTJ because they're pushy too.
Right.
The leadership roles would not be clear, not be as clear. And I don't have that same struggle with INTJs.
Yeah. Now,
I don't mean to try and sway you toward one type or the other, but those are observations that I've been making the past 6 months or so.
I hope this is not too personal a question. But you do enjoy doing the videos on your channel with Rowan, and you see him. You get a lot of enjoyment out of that, don't you?
Yeah. Now, I don't like all INTJs. And I'm not even going to say that me and Rowan would never have conflict, but generally, if I like an ILI or an INTJ, it's a very comfortable, non-combative thing.
Right. Are there? Have you got any other interests?
I do. For a while, I was making jewelry.
Ah.
What else do I do? I've made. Oh yeah, I like to make costumes. I made a few top hats. I thought that was pretty funny. I didn't have a pattern or anything like that, but yeah.
What was that? A top hat?
Yeah, I made a couple top hats. I thought it was. I cut out some cardboard and then like sewed fabric around it.
Did you like get a cane and then do a musical number?
There were canes involved and there were musical numbers involved, but that wasn't the desired outcome. It just happened.
Right.
So it was for my kids for last Halloween, and we did have some fun with those costumes. Yeah. I've made other things. I've always like if I have an outfit that I like and a part of it tears, I'll just sew it instead of throwing it away.
Make to amend.
What else have I done? It's okay. In the past, I have worked on my own vehicles.
Now, EJ R&D would be turned on by that.
Really?
Yeah, he said that. He said a woman who can fix a car. He had like a scenario of the ideal woman, and that was it. That a woman who could like fix his car.
I find that odd since his duals are TE polar.
That's what he said. It might have been a few years ago though.
So I've had plenty of other interests. God, I don't know. Let me try and think about this.
I mean, you're ticking a lot of artisan boxes.
I don't think that there's a question at this point of whether I'm an artisan or not. I mean,
No.
I do have some NF values. I do. I'll admit that. So anyway, fuck, I don't know. No.
Yeah, but it's not just the artisan instinct that you have. You have the artisan abilities as well.
Yeah, but there are abilities that I have cultured, or what's the word? Groomed in myself.
Yeah.
When I was a little bit younger, I thought it would be interesting to try and translate the Bible from Old English, but that didn't happen.
You see, what it was, the English that they actually used in the Bible was a little bit of a literary device at the time in order to make it sound older. Because the guy translated it from Latin. I think his name was Tyndale. And he wanted
another interest I've had. I kind of like went through a bunch of like different spiritual beliefs until I ended up an atheist.
Oh.
So Buddhism, other shit. I don't know what it's called, but
Taoism.
I've been interested in Hinduism before.
Oh, what did you think of Buddhism?
Buddhism? I think it's interesting. I think that I feel the same way about all religions, and that they are old-fashioned, and that in 100 years, hopefully, everyone will be an atheist.
Yes. That would be brilliant.
I think all religions are old-fashioned, and I think they're all interesting. I think some are a bit more enlightening than others. Christianity might be the last on my list of religions that are enlightening.
Well, we won't debate that.
Hinduism would be up there. and
Right.
higher religions for me.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned spirituality. Did you go and look into tarot or astrology or anything like that?
Yeah, I've looked into those.
What do you
I've looked
think?
into the Tao. I love the Tao Te Ching. Is that how you say it?
Pardon?
Tao Te Ching, the book, the Tao.
No. No, nothing about it.
I really loved it. Really loved it. Oh, I don't know.
What's it about, that book?
It's just a whole bunch of, mantras, affirmations. It's okay. I can tell you. I can sum up the Tao Te Ching. Um, Yin and Yang. Everything is nothing. Uh, Nothingness is the absolute. Things like that. Those are things you're gonna get in this book.
Oh, the NF alarm going off.
What is it?
An NF alarm.
I have looked into all these things purely out of interest. I wouldn't say out of interest. Yeah, out of interest, but out of I don't know. I don't remember what I was about to say just now, but whatever. I've never taken it like extremely seriously. Like maybe in the moment I've taken it seriously only for what it could give me in the moment. I can say I've retained like my own spiritual beliefs, but it would be like a mishmash of all spiritual beliefs, and the end result would be something, you know, unfathomable and not human.
With all of these interests, are you similar to Jeffy, or maybe how you differ in that he has one interest that he's like really into, and then something will happen and he'll suddenly switch to something else, and he never knows when he's going to switch to something else.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you have an interest for a certain amount, then you just switch to something different.
I think it's related to a need. I get this feeling. It's like I need to know everything. Everything that life has to offer, I need to know about it.
What sort of things about life? Opportunities to do things?
I've reduced that to what is the purpose of life? And the purpose of life is life. Like there is no purpose to life. Life is the end. Like the end result is life itself. You live to live.
Enneagram 7?
Maybe. It's like what is how can I do a service to myself and the rest of the world? And how I would do it's weird. I don't understand it, but whatever. It's living I'm trying to put this into words.
Say if you didn't have children, would you have like joined something like the Peace Corps?
I thought about it, but I've thought about a lot of things. And I think yes, that would be an optimal job for me. Well, I mean, because it includes traveling also, and that's part of what I would do. If I didn't have kids, I wouldn't live anywhere for very long. I know that.
In fact, that's something I could have asked you about traveling in different places.
I've done a lot of traveling. It was part of my upbringing. I started very young traveling with my grandfather. He was a historian. He wrote a book. It wasn't very. It's kind of unintelligible, but he's almost like an IAI to where like how Jung makes his own model of the universe. but it's almost incomplete. And it's basically just a you know a fuck. I don't know the vocabulary for what I'm trying to say.
Right, so for the one viewer that we have at the moment, that is INFJ. I still had to mentally convert.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But when you initially said it, I thought, did she mean ENFP? No, she said EI. Oh.
Yeah, the INFJ. So anyway, oh my god, I've done so many cool things.
Come on, tell us. Please.
Okay. Okay, so we went to the Rainbow Gathering. A bunch of freaking hippies go to this place, and they all smoke weed, and they all walk around naked, and you camp out there for a couple weeks, and it's like this big hippie fest where it's like, no rules, toot toot, we're awesome. There's like this big lake. It was just like a big freaking 70s fest. It was awesome. So, I have so many cousins that I don't know how many I have. And it was a bunch of us. We all went with my grandfather. We kept our clothes on, just so everyone knows. The children were not naked. We were just there. So there was that. That was cool. We stayed there for a couple weeks. Oh, when I was a little bit older, this was another job that I did that I forgot to mention. When I was during the youth build job that I told you about, where we worked for the community, I took a 2-week vacation, and I went with my cousins to Vermont to help these people that we know, these hippies, build a floor in their house. They had this commune, they had a land contract, and they couldn't pay for it. Anyway, they paid us $200 each in 2 weeks to help them with things, building things, which wasn't a lot of money, but travel expenses were included, and room and board. First couple nights we slept in a tent, which was cool. Anyway, we were in the middle of nowhere. It was awesome. We built a sweat lodge, which we got the idea from another trip that we had, which was in Arizona. The people that we were... Did I say Vermont? It wasn't Vermont. It was... It was Massachusetts. No, fuck. What's the state right under Massachusetts?
Connecticut?
No.
Rhode Island?
Maryland.
Maryland's not under Massachusetts.
Wrong. I don't fucking know. I don't remember, okay? It was right near Massachusetts, and I remember that it was so close that we got there on the train in Massachusetts, and it was like a 30-minute drive to their house.
New Hampshire?
I think it was New Hampshire, yes. So
English guy knows the states.
You all know Americans do not know the states. We don't. We know some of them, but anyway. Yeah, good job, Jeff. So anyway, it was cool. So so the people we went to work for those 2 weeks, they went with us to the Arizona trip a few years before that. And we got this idea of the sweat lodges from the Arizona trip with the Pinon Indian tribe. This is why my grandfather was so awesome, because all these experiences, that he exposed us to. So we go to Arizona. It took us like 2 weeks to get there. We stopped and camped on the way. Some really cool camp spots. Me and my cousins and some of our friends, we took 3 vehicles. One of them was a white van with no seats in it, and we all just like crammed in there like sardines. And sang, and some of us like beatboxed and rapped for fun. And me and my other cousin Jake sang that song "My Girl" so many times that like today none of our cousins like that song anymore. Like they hate it. They're like, fuck that song, do not sing that. So anyway, it was awesome. Okay, so it took us about 2 weeks to get there. A bunch of people, about maybe 30 people or something like that. Maybe 3 weeks we stayed there in tents with the Pinon Indian tribe for their ceremony.
Oh, she's paused. Uh-oh. She'll be back. Oh dear. I've got to fill. Right. Then I will fill by putting on a slide. Right, what we can do is we can look at the matrix of traits of artisans. I think. Let me just show this. We'll have to see what happens. Give her a few minutes to come back. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put that there, see if she messages me. She might be back. Right. So, this is the table. So, we've got the artisan column on the left. Interest, art, craft, technique, equipment. So, if we were to judge Carrina by those criteria of what she mentioned, with the artwork, the writing, the poetry, the music, the fixing up cars, the interest is artisan. The being in the moment. The orientation is the now. The place is here. It's now. The cynicism that she said when she talked about when she said, if someone, oh, you're back. I was summarizing this table. I was just filling some time. Now you're back.
How long have you been gone?
You were gone maybe a minute or two. Were you saying some gold there that I've missed?
I don't know now. I was going on and on about stuff. It's okay.
Oh, well, okay. So you're in these tents. The last thing you talked about was something about an Indian tribe. You talked about this. The last thing. The last thing I can remember is you were talking about the song "My Girl." You sung it so much that you ruined the song for a lot of people. Not you doing the ruining, but like everyone ruined it for everyone.
It was me and one cousin, and yeah, I take responsibility for that. We ruined the song. I'm sorry that my phone is cutting out. So okay, the ceremony was awesome. I don't want to go back over that, but we did a sweat lodge. We built a sweat lodge. You dig a pit in the ground. You fire these rocks so they get really hot. You build sticks around the pit. You put buffalo skins over top of it. So it's like a sauna basically, and they chant. If I start cutting out, let me know. Sorry.
Okay.
So anyway, it was cool. It was really, really hard to do. Almost none of the white people do it. The Indians were really racist.
Oh, a little bit of politics there.
Yeah, the Native Americans.
Barely audible politics. What was that again?
They were really racist. They made us do dirty.
Who were?
The Native Americans.
Oh, well, trying to get their own back.
Oh yeah, I don't blame them, but
yeah,
I didn't do it. Shit, it wasn't me. But you can't blame them. They were really segregated. They didn't know a lot of white people, so it's fine. Anyway, there are a lot of historical sites in West Virginia, and I grew up going to a lot of them.
What kind of historical sites?
Most of it has to do with the Civil War.
Oh, I was just about to say no Roman ruins, no Norman castles.
A lot of grave sites, a lot of tributes to the war.
Yeah.
I also grew up going to New York City with my grandfather. He was an activist. Yes. He was an activist.
What for what?
He was just a hippie. Like, if you can imagine
Oh, okay.
hippiest activist, that was him. He wasn't
Okay.
actually an activist. He was sort of like Gandhi. He was very nonviolent. He didn't always comply with like the laws, but
Was he in the ENFP?
I think he was an INFJ.
Oh.
He created his own system, which was a little bit not great. I feel like he was, you know, definitely trying really hard with the TI, but just unless he was a TI lead, I don't know. Maybe that's why he didn't make any sense to me. But
What kind of system was he creating?
I'll show you his website. You'll see. It's really esoteric. Yeah, I'll message his website to you. He's dead
Right.
now, but
So a great love of traveling. Have you ever traveled outside of the United States?
no, it's too expensive.
Right.
I probably will one day. Oh yeah, I like studying different languages.
Ah. Will you study Russian?
I did study Russian. I taught myself how to read it, but I don't necessarily know what I'm reading.
Right. So you know how to pronounce the alphabet, which is pretty much the level I'm at.
I can't recall it for you, but I can read it. Well,
Yeah.
it's poor. It's really poor reading, but I mean, sometimes I can like a lot of the stuff. I can say there are a lot of cognates in language theory. The cognates are words that are the same. They're spoken the same in English and the other word, or in the other language.
Yes. What's funny? I think one of the funniest Russian words that's been translated is, do you know what they call American football?
What?
Amerikansky football.
Nice. That's pretty funny.
You can get
I
like
mean,
a simple
they
book
got the
like
word
this.
for introversion. The word for introversion is very much the same. The word for irrational is very much the same. I mean, a lot of the stuff you can pick it up if you know
Yeah,
socionics.
yeah. And like demonstrative is like demonstrativnia or something, and like
Something like that. I don't remember that one. I remember you tested me on my knowledge, and I didn't know that one.
um, but yeah, like simple books like this. I've got to study it myself, but like sort of the children's books where it's associates
That's
the word. Pardon?
so actually I know Moloko, Vilka, Wolf, uh, Babushka, Babushka. I don't know how to say that. Now I don't remember anything else now. Sorry.
What's a sabaka?
That's drum. What?
What's a sabaka?
I don't know.
A dog.
A dog.
A
Why
dog.
wouldn't I know that? So, oh, Tao Tam. That means how, I think, or how do you do that, or who's there, something like that. Sorry if
Um,
I'm cutting out. No.
that's okay. There's a word in here that actually attributes bad to a kid that's squeezing
Uh-oh.
out toothpaste. So it's like written by an SJ.
It's like the SP. It's like, you know, the SP is like you know, the SP encompasses all that is not desirable in children.
Oh, so just to go a little bit NE, is that I once showed that on camera, the Ginster's Cornish pasty, and then another one, a peppered steak slice.
Oh
I
my
don't know if you
god.
have anything like that in West Virginia. A peppered steak slice. That's
No,
quite
we do
nice.
not have that. You know what that reminds me of? My dad made these freaking meat pies one time. I was like, no. And then I had to pull up. What is the Demon Barber of Fleet Street? Um,
Oh, um,
in that movie? Johnny Depp.
Barber.
Yeah. The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and they have Todd Sweeney, right?
Yeah, Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney
Yeah.
Todd, okay. So they have a scene where they're singing the West Pies in London, the West Pies in London, and I loved it so much. She said, "You're gonna need a drink to wash it down." Anyway, I played that for my dad after he made the meat pies. I said, "There's no way I'm eating that." Nah, actually, I tried it and it wasn't that bad. But anyways, I had to play. I had to play the video for him. I think it embarrassed him. He's an ISTP.
So, what were dead bodies put in the pies?
No, but if
No,
I
not
were,
your father's pies, but in Sweeney Todd.
yeah, yeah, popping pussies into pies.
Deary me.
They kill the cats. They said the cats are disappearing or something. I love that scene so much. Freaking great.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, when you looked at the Enneagram 7 profile, are there any? Does it generally fit you, or
I've said that the Enneagram 7 is probably not me, but I could be wrong.
right?
I'm not very good at introspection, which is probably an Enneagram 7 trait.
If you were not a parent, do you think you would be more Enneagram 7?
I don't know. What would that look like?
I suppose more hedonistic. I mean,
Probably been a hedon in the past, somewhat, possibly. I can say I'm not good at classifying behaviors. I don't know what normal is.
right?
Sorry if I'm cutting out.
Yeah.
I said I don't know I don't know how to classify what a normal behavior is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there are certain situations in which I should present myself as not being extreme, possibly. Like, I know the extremes. I know what the extreme low is and the extreme high is of behavior.
Well, I think with you that you've got some Enneagram 7 trait, but you've got the FI trait as well. Because like, remember when you talked about helping people build stuff, and so it's like the both of the things going together. And it happened a bit with in the Jeff videos where. Pardon?
You said how people build stuff?
Yeah, you were helping people.
Right.
And so you're not necessarily doing stuff for your own enjoyment, but for other people. And
I don't know if that's FI, really. It could be. But, yeah, sure. I'm more likely to do something if it's for somebody else.
if it's like behavior that's motivated by values rather than for a desire for fun.
Well, I mean, I did get paid for that job, but I can say I was proud of it. I mean, I like to be part of something bigger than myself. I wouldn't separate fun from that.
Yeah. Jeff has said similar things about trying to combine the both. Like that, he said that he sees them as working as a team, the SE and the FI.
Sure.
And activities that can combine the two. And where he's talked about the fact that he's a parent is a check on his desire to have fun. And where he has.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, my responsibilities are the most important thing. There's nothing else more important than me, if I say something is my responsibility, I'm going to do it. But if I don't say it's my responsibility, not very much pressure can get me to do it. Unless it just feels like night.
Yeah, I think Jeff has said something similar. He said something like, he thinks about money because he thinks of the impact on his son when he was younger. And so he'd always think of him first.
For me, yeah, sure, of course, you have to think about the people in your life first. You have to. It's like this. I mean, I created 2 lives. When I did that, I took almost never do I create an action without taking responsibility for the reaction. I'm living life actively. I'm aware of what I'm doing, and I'm aware of the fact that there are negative consequences and positive consequences for everything that you do. And I take things as they come, really. But I was gonna say something else relevant. Now I don't remember. Money. I don't care about money. I wish there was no such thing as money. But what money means to me is that there's a price on life. Like, life is monetized. I can't live without money. So if there were no restrictions on my actions based upon money would be meaningless.
Right. Look, I think most people see money as a means to an end.
Maybe. Probably. Sure, yeah. Imagine that. But
So,
for monetization.
pardon?
I said I have a particular disdain for monetization.
Oh, so you're not going to be monetizing your videos on your channel?
I have monetized a few of them. But now when I went to monetize the rest of them, I thought, can I do this? Like, there are other people in these videos. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you can. If they're, you can monetize this one if you want. Earn 1 cent out of it. I won't begrudge that.
I mean, I know I can, but do I feel that it's within my rights? I'm not sure.
I think you can. I mean, I've monetized videos that have. I think any video that you're in a hangout, you can monetize and re-upload it because you do own a part of it.
Right. I don't know. I don't even care. It's not enough money to worry about.
I know.
This video has been much longer than.
Pardon?
This video has been much longer than I thought it was going to be.
Right. So, anything else you want to say, or should we wind up?
There's nothing else I want to say. I don't know what I would say.
Right. That's Gamma for wind it up then. Now. So, bye folks.
Adios, muchachos.
Right.